The Medway Science Centre, Key Stakeholders and Communication by Joe Drury. What are stakeholders? A stakeholder is anyone who can affect or is affected by a certain project. A stakeholder can be internal to a project, such as an investor to a project such as the pump house, or can be external to the project such as the general public, who could be affected by the project. Stakeholders are crucial to the success of a project. Neglect them and they will effectively work against you. Manage them well and you will actively promote you and your project. Who are the stakeholders? Who are the stakeholders in a project? In a construction project, stakeholders are divided into internal and external, all depending on how they are affected by the project relevant to the project in hand. The pump house internal stakeholders will include the project team, for example, the Medway Science Centre team, funding bodies that are introduced to the project, end user of the Science Centre, i.e. employees, concessions, i.e. users who are going to use the Science Centre after completion, main contractor responsible for carrying out the refurbishment works to create the Science Centre. On the other hand, there are also external stakeholders who are also affected directly or indirectly by the proposed Science Centre. The local government, local residents who may be affected by the works carried out and affected by the opening of the Science Centre, boat owners who are in close proximity to the pump house, and the Medway Shopping Centre. Communication. Communication within project-based environments presents special challenges. This is especially true within the construction industry, where interaction tends to be characterised by unfamiliar groups of people coming together for short periods before disbanding to work on other endeavours. The key to a successful and effective project is to ensure that communication is optimised and all parties know where roles and responsibilities within the project. Key to translating communication between parties will be the Medway Science Centre, as they are the ones driving the aspirations of the regeneration of the pump house and have to communicate effectively their vision as well as their enthusiasm to engage possible stakeholders. Project stakeholders. Managing stakeholders. By successfully managing your stakeholders, you will be better able to keep a lid on scope, ensure project requirements are aligned, understand tolerance for risk and mitigate issues that would otherwise delay the project. Good stakeholder management is a testimony to your influence in the project and a key component to a healthy project environment. Stakeholders vary in influence, expectation and vary in effect they can have on the proposed Science Centre. It is critical to manage the stakeholders' expectations and minimise any surprises as they can impede on the project's viability. It is essential to outline your possible stakeholders as early in the project as possible and address them and define the role they could play in the proposed Science Centre. Key internal stakeholders. The client. The client, being the Medway Science Centre, are critical to the Science Centre getting off the ground. As a stakeholder, they are an internal stakeholder and will undertake the role as a project team, as to date they are the only recognised party to the project. They will have to undertake the responsibility of communicating the project to both internal and external stakeholders. In order to analyse the potential stakeholders effectively to deliver a project, all communication methods engage stakeholders in some way, and it is only by completing stakeholder analysis that efficient, cost-effective approaches can be taken and risk can be managed. There are 5 stages in which they illustrate the relationship between stakeholders and influence and engagement approaches to adopt. Partnership being one, where stakeholders have shared accountability and responsibility for the project. This would entail financial backing on the project. Number 2, participation. Stakeholders are part of the team engaged in delivering tasks. Two-way engagement There will be two-way engagement, but in most circumstances there will be little financial backing. Number 3, consultation. Stakeholders are involved but not responsible. There is limited two-way engagement is used, e.g. stakeholders are asked specific questions in front of a panel. Number 4, push communications. Stakeholders are sent pushed information using various channels, e.g. emails, webcasts, leaflets, etc. Number 5, pull communication. For the least important stakeholders, information can be simply made available, for example, via a website or posters on construction site fences. Key internal stakeholders. The more people you affect with the Science Centre regeneration, the more likely it is your actions will impact people who have power and influence over the project. These people could be strong supporters of your work, or they could block it. Deciphering the powerful stakeholder is crucial to a successful project, such as you can use the opinions of the most powerful stakeholders to shape the Science Centre project at an early stage. Not only does this make it more likely that they will support you, their input can also improve the quality of your project. Gaining support from powerful stakeholders can help you to win more resources. This makes it more likely that your project will be successful. By communicating with stakeholders early and frequently, you can ensure that they fully understand what you are doing and understand the benefits of the project. This means they can support you actively when necessary and can anticipate what people's reaction to your project may be and build into your plan the actions that will win people's support. Possible powerful stakeholders could include the client's customers, i.e. the schools, local companies or families in the local area. As the science project is in a partnership made up of parents, teachers, scientists and lecturers, all of the previously mentioned are key stakeholders within the project. Schools are going to be a major stakeholder. In the way of it is a route to explore the local Medway schools to support the project and possibly contribute financially. Having the backing of schools will not only spread the word through word of mouth, but will also give the Science Centre some more or less guaranteed customers as it is promoting an educational ethos. Local companies can also promote the project throughout Medway, which will also generate interest and support and can be an opportunity to gain financial backing. The role would be an indirect role as they would have no direct responsibility. Scientists. There are 4 universities in the Medway area, and it is a massive opportunity to engage these as they could be potential stakeholders within the project. Within the 4 universities, there are science departments who undoubtedly show a big interest in the proposed Science Centre. A way to engage this would be to promote innovative educational programs and seek for suggestions in ways to engage local scientists and students. Other science centres in the UK. There is no preferable stakeholder to try and engage within the Science Centre project than other organisations and centres within the country. Doing this will give you invaluable expertise and will be able to give you an insight on how to promote the centre firsthand and ideas on how to build up an interest within the area. The main science centre in the area currently operated in London, being able to engage this centre could lead to a potential advertisement. However, the introduction of a new science centre in the local surrounding London area may act as a negative to other science centres, as they could see it as competition that is not wanted and could make things difficult, which therefore could escalate to bigger things and bad publicity. Disruption to the project. The first group of people to concentrate on would be the groups that require minimal effort, such as the national government, local residents, etc. Usually a public relations approach is deemed acceptable, ensuring that the people are informed of the plans on a brief and concise level. The second group that needs to be informed are groups which may be opposed to the project, such as conservationists, environmentalists, neighbouring residents, as if a collaborative effort is sought, they are able to mobilise the press behind them and can cause serious damage to the project, which therefore promotes them to the key player category. The key is to ensure you distribute the relevant information to the certain parties need to know questions and information needed by all parties. For example, a local resident will not need to know the construction duration as it will not directly affect them, whereas a neighbouring resident or boat owner in the docks will want to know this as it affects them directly. Key external stakeholders. Chatham Dockyard. Chatham Dockyard is going to be an external stakeholder within the Science Centre project, as they will have no direct involvement within the project, but due to location and the amount of revenue and tourism attracted by the historic dockyard opens up both potential positive and negative feedback due to the history of the area and where you propose to situate the project. The environmentalists and keen historians could have something to say in the way of it being a listed building and not want any modifications being done to it. However, the way to engage the people of Chatham Dockyard will be to emphasise the fact you are going to keep the character of the building and many of the historic features will be maintained to ensure the history is not forgotten. The Planning Department. The local government and planning department are another example of a key external stakeholder, as they uphold a lot of power within the local communities and if engaged negatively could solely put a stop to the project. Engaging them at the earliest stage possible is crucial, as the elements of surprise is not favourable. Taking into account that the pump house is currently a listed building brings its own problems in the way of obtaining permission to renovate the building, while keeping its character could be hard to come by. An architect on board and at an early stage would be preferable to present drawings to the local government and planning department for the proposed plans and sections, as any external modifications are likely to be rejected, for example renewal of windows, painting externally, brick repairs, etc. A planning application for a listed building is circa 24 weeks anyhow. The best bet is to engage the council as early as possible, as a lot of work could be done for nothing. Another external stakeholder being the Dockside Shopping Centre. As the Dockside Shopping Centre is within a stone's throw away from the proposed site, it would act as a very good marketing tool as well as a possible partnering option, as Dockside's facilities could be utilised as well as the science centres. For example, a deal could be struck whereby Dickens World and Medway Science Centre are a joint ticket to visit both, which would entice families and schools for an educational experience. However, the negative could be that the traffic around Dockside could cause major delays, putting people off, and could cause the Highways Agency to become a potential stakeholder. As it stands, parking is an issue at the proposed location, so maybe a partnering deal whereby the car park at Dockside is usable for a monthly contribution fee, as parking is excessive as it stands. Here is a few photos of the existing pump house which could be issued to the planning department and to local heritage to show the machinery currently in the pump house and how it could be maintained and able to keep its character. Communication. Organisations can no longer choose if they want to engage with stakeholders or not. The only decision they need to take is when and how successfully to engage. Stakeholder engagement is on the notion that those groups who can affect or affected by the achievements of an organisation's purpose should be given the opportunity to comment and input into the development of decisions that affect them. In today's society, if they are not actively sought out, sooner or later they may demand to be consulted. Communication within the project is going to be critical if the project is to get off the ground and meet the aspirations of the client. In order to do this, the client is going to have to effectively keep all members within the project working towards a common goal. in order to gain backing and endeavour to get the Science Centre off the ground. To do this, there are various types of communication that is proven effective within the project management, i.e. oral. We are constantly using words verbally to inform our subordinates of a decision, provided information and so on. This is done either by phone or face to face. Written. Writing is used when you have to provide detailed information such as figures, facts, even while giving a presentation. It also is generally used to send documentations and other important material to stakeholders, which could then be stored for later use and can be referred to easily as it was recorded for reference at a later date. Body language. Your body language is key in portraying the message you are trying to send. Your smile, your gestures and several other body movements send out a message to the people around you. You need to be mindful of this while dealing with your project team and stakeholders. Always remember to maintain eye contact. Pre-construction. During the pre-construction of the Science Centre, as it is at the current time, it is primarily the Medway Science Centre Partnership's role to communicate the proposed project in the most effective way possible, to portray the message and sell the project in order to gain a potential investor or backing. To communicate this effectively, it is crucial that you have a PEP, a project execution plan, in place to ensure that all members know where they are going with the project and that there are clear aims, objectives and facts in place to portray the message effectively and efficiently. A presentation to potential stakeholders is a viable option as it will enable you to communicate orally as well as communicate through body language. The construction phase. Through the construction phase of the pump house, the preferred option would be to employ a contractor to carry out the works under the guidance of the client and possibly the architect. Communicating the construction works could be difficult without a background in the industry and could cause design issues and conflict. Instructions and communication during this phase is essential as it needs careful management. In order to do this, written communication is recordable and auditable. Schedules are a useful communication tool when describing locations in the building where it is too cumbersome and repetitive to include on drawings. However, schedules and drawings cannot portray the whole message, as written specifications communicate what quality and aspects of works need carrying out. Post-construction. Communication in ensuring that from construction to handover is essential. To do this is a close working relationship through the construction period is essential, and clear progress updates are communicated formally either electronically through email or paper copy, as records need to be kept and progress is hard to monitor verbally, and a true reflection of the works is often hidden within the conversation. Communication will need to be passed to the surrounding areas to advise of the imminent opening of the Science Centre, and written informal posters, leaflets, adverts are a bold and effective form of communication to inform the public of the centre and the relevant details.